Now here's a common mistake that sometimes is made during the process of doing your own touch-up and body work on a vehicle. If you look where my finger is at, there's a piece of tape right here, and right here, and right here. But once I painted the color that I'm using, you can barely see it unless you actually walk up on the car. Off a distance, you're not going to see the mistake that I'm talking about. You see these little, you can barely see them. So I took some tape and I put it right in this area here because I know that this is a spot that I got to come back to later on to correct this spot right here, right here. Okay, right here and right here and right here. There's a mistake made here that I got to come back to later on and correct, either repaint, resand, but off a distance you can't really see the mistake. But I know what the mistake is, so I will come back to it at a later time, probably next spring if the weather permits and if I don't have any issues with the vehicle. Here's the back end of the vehicle. And this right here is another common mistake. This was tape around here, right? So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to retape this emblem right here. When I retape this, I'll probably put a piece of newspaper over it, and then I'll paint this back in a little bit. But again, nobody's going to be really paying that much attention to that. Okay. So as we're walking around, this is the actual front of the hood. Now, this here is still masked off right there because of the fact that the paint is still drying. So the reason why I rolled it up a little bit is because I don't want this to hit the emblem right there that I just painted today, right there. So I just painted that in. That's probably dry. Also, I put the license plate on and put a piece of tape, and I had a piece of white garbage bag covering this here because I don't want paint to get on the license plate. Yes, it's a little crooked. Now that is not a bad thing at all. So I had to put some holes in it to put the license plate on. That's okay though. So right now we're letting this dry because there's the threat of rain coming sometime this afternoon or sometime overnight. So there are some mistakes that's been made here, but again, you can't really see the mistakes. Here's another one right here. Unless you walk directly up on this vehicle, you're not going to see that mistake. Okay, you're not going to really even see it. Okay, so this is still masked off, as I say, because I'm letting this dry and I don't want paint to run down on the other part. So, and then plus that, I repainted the emblem. So that's dry. That's dry. So eventually, if it does rain tonight or not, I'll probably leave this like this and I'll remove it tomorrow morning or over the weekend. But there is a threat of rain, so that's why I did some more work basically to the hood. So this is our passenger side. This is the driver's side. Now, do I consider repainting the whole car? Not really. Not really. Not really. It's a little bit more work involved. And when you're doing this strictly by hand, This is what you have to do. You have to keep at it until you get that surface or results the way you want. As I say, this area right here and here and here, off a distance you can't see it. You can only see it when you walk up on the car. And I retaped up the driver's side tail light because I'm still letting this dry and I don't want this to get on the lens. As you can see, I still have the plastic masking off the bottom bumper because we don't want that to hit that clear license plate cover, and I just put the license plate on it yesterday. So, boys and girls, how did I do for an amateur? Well, I tell you what, I think it looks beautiful, but again, I'm only doing the rear bumper and the rear trunk and the front hood. The rest of the vehicle, basically, I'll consider repainting the rest of the car this color, but I don't know if I'm really going to do it or not. I just don't think I'm going to do it because it's a lot more. It took about a week and a half, and even on the weekends to kind of get this to look the way I want it to look.